Hello there. My name is Pat Gilmore, and I am the program director for the Leesburg Center for the Arts. And I'm here today on a combination of Zoom and my steady camera. I'm here to talk to you about mindfulness and stress and how using art can help you relax, clear your mind, and feel centered. These are very important things in these days and times, but they're important at all time. Let me explain some things. Some people know me as the director of the Leesburg Center for the Arts. I take care of all the programming. I do a lot of social media. I contract workshop leaders. I teach workshops myself because I am a professional artist. I am known as a mandala artist. So we're going to talk about those today and how they can be used as tools to help center and ground you. I'm also an environmental artist, but that's another subject. What we're going to do today is focus on our psyches and focus on healthy ways to calm and de-stress because we need it at all time. Now, what makes me somebody that can talk about that? Few people know this because I arrived to Central Florida 3 years ago, and I made a decision at that time that I didn't want to jump through the hoops that the state of Florida had for me in order to set up my private practice. I had private practice for 25 years up in the Boston area and also functioned out of South America in the city of Buenos Aires. As a therapist, and I am a bodywork therapist, I practice traditional Chinese medicine. I give lectures on that. I am a medical hypnotherapist certified. I am a clinical master hypnotherapist and certified in all this stuff. And I had a wonderful private practice. And what I truly loved to build my private practice, I became a speaker. And my speaking brought me to 3 different continents. And I also started a nonprofit organization, which I eventually dissolved when I moved down here to Florida. So you might know me just in the framework of the Leesburg Center for the Arts, but at 63, I've got a pretty vast background, and a lot of it has to do with wellness. So this is art and wellness. Art can help with wellness, and it definitely can help with centering and grounding your mind. So as a mandala artist, I teach classes. In fact, that's how I started at the Leesburg Center for the Arts. I contracted in to teach some watercolor classes, mandala and watercolor, and also do some earth art mandalas out in the woods. That was fun. So I'm going back to those roots. I've never left them. I've been doing this type of drawing for years and years and years and years, and I sell my pieces. But today I'm going to talk to you about the psychology of mandalas and their history just a little bit, but I want to show you how to set them up so you can do them on your own. Now, before we even know this whole COVID stuff was going to go down, I knew that my stressful times of the year, being a program director, getting everything ready, blowing our calendar up from 1 or 2 things a month to 130 some odd in 5 months, it takes a lot of work for Maria and me and Sarah. So I started this early. I actually started it, I think, in December, where it was cold outside, very not like it is right now. I've got the air conditioner off so it doesn't go and, mess up the sound here. But it's cold in December, and I didn't want to get out of bed because I had the heater going, and I thought, geez, I'm getting fractured. I know when I'm really busy. I know when life is chaotic over at the center. I know when my time is under so much demand and I get stressed because I'm human. I am 63 years old. By the way, I'm just going to put this in here. I'm 63 years old. I'm not saying that's old or young, but I am saying it has earned me the ability to call myself an old crone. So I do not have makeup on here, kids. I'll let the 20, 30, 40 somethings do the makeup when we do the videos. When I'm doing virtual coffee and convos, it's rare if you're going to see anything dripping down my face. It's too hot to wear makeup. And crone, by the way, means crown. So the older we get, the more royal we become and important for our society. There you go. I just gave a kick out there for all you people that are in the boomer years like me. Anyway, knowing what was happening in my mind, knowing I was getting scattered, knowing I was overstressed, I began to draw 20-minute mandalas in bed before I got up. Now, these are 5x7 cards. I pre-lined them out and I would just draw. They were telling to what was going on in my psyche. Let me flip through some of these. They're all different, which is part of my point here today. Adult coloring books are wonderful to help you de-stress, but your mind can go anywhere and you're not going to lose your spot. When you draw mandalas from scratch, you cannot get into stinking thinking. Mandalas are all about, because of their symmetry, when you're drawing them, is about centering and focusing. So I don't even put music on that has lyrics because I will lose my spot. I will go off into some sort of other thought and I'll come back and I'll look and go, oh, I didn't mean to put that there. More into that later. Anyway, the psychology, which is part of my hypnotherapy background, I've studied it extensively. There was a man by the name of Carl Gustav Jung. He was a contemporary of Freud. Now, Freud was all about sex, 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 your mother's sex, your father's sex, 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 sex. And some people really followed that school. He's incredibly famous. We talk about Freudian slips a lot. His contemporary, though, was Carl Jung, and Carl Jung believed in signs and symbolism. Now, I don't know about y'all, but it's my Florida. I'm actually from Cambridge, Massachusetts, and Newton. I just developed that. Y'all may remember your dreams. Well, I remember my dreams when I get them that are vivid, and I write them down. I actually have a whiteboard, and I draw it all because I forget it. Because they are telling to what's going on in your psyche. And it's really interesting. I bet you've woken up some morning and said, where did that come from? Oh, yeah, well, I was talking so-and-so about that. So, yeah, I can see how that drifted it. But what about that? Is that a message? What is my unconscious mind trying to say to me? These do the same thing. Carl Jung had his patients draw mandalas. He drew mandalas. He considered their drawings to be windows to what was going on in their subconscious, unconscious mind. They're really telling. And it's really fun to do. Let's see if I can, now that I've mixed them all up. Oh yeah, so the second day I was drawing my mandalas, we're talking November, December. This is my high stress month because I have to have everything ready and out to all the newspapers weeks before January hits. The second day I was drawing mandalas, I drew this one. Does that look like I'm a little frantic? I'm in a sense of peace. Sorry, I'm gobbling the microphone by getting this close. I was in a sense of peace. Again, I put on meditation music for 20 minutes and I draw these. I would say this is a fractured mind. The more I did the mandalas, I watched the mandalas become more calm and peaceful. And I felt more calm and peaceful. It was hard to push my buttons once I started doing this. So I'm going to show you how to do a setup. These are very simple. Now they take me 20 minutes. They might take you 45. We're going to start a bigger one just so you can see the setup. Okay, so that's what this extra camera is for. So I am going to be pulling my hair back, which is a wreck anyway with the humidity. I miss my 70s hair. I didn't do 80s hair. I did 70s hair. I still have hot rollers and I love them. They take this crazy curl out. At any rate, you'll also see this 63-year-old woman with contacts in, with some readers on top. I'm not proud. I am effective. Okay, let's go. Switching over to this camera now. I have started this already by lining this out. This is watercolor paper. Let me show you something. Hopefully I don't mess up the alignment to the camera. See this? This is a paint bag. You can buy them at Walmart. They're very inexpensive. And the quality of the paper is pretty darn good. Now up north, I have gone to something called Ocean State Job Lots. We also have Big Lots there, and the paper they had was garbage. This is a pretty nice weight. It's a very nice weight and a nice rag to it. So I highly suggest picking something up like that. But you can do this on any sheet of paper, any size. This happens to be 9 by 12. I have pre-marked it just for quickness at the halfway marks. So if this is 12, that is 6, this is 9, that is 4.5. And I drew in a very light pencil line. Now, I happen to love these pencils because I never need to sharpen them. Dollar Tree, I think they're 6 or 8 to a pack. I've already lost the eraser here. If you're doing this kind of work, I highly suggest you use white erasers, not the ones that are a color, because it'll get on the paper. You want to make light lines because you want to erase all the lines. So you need a pencil, you need a ruler, you need paper. Next up, Dollar Tree. Again, for $1 you can get a compass. Now some people like to use things like glasses, and no, this is not wine in here. It's soda water and lemonade. Could use more soda water, that's sour. Anyway, I use a compass. So what I'm going to do here is find the middle. And I don't want to go all the way to the edge, because if I do like my mandala and I want to mat and frame it, I want it to be able to be put in a frame and a mat that is a standard size. So that would be an 8 by 10. I like to start these right in the middle, but I will trim the sides as necessary to get them into an 8 by 10. And by the way, if you happen to decide to spend time in Europe or in South America, they're on the metric system. So I found that the standard size of an 8 by 10 is really close to the standard size they have. Going bigger than that, not necessarily so. So I'm going to draw a circle. And then I'm just going to randomly change this up to draw some more circles within that circle. That'll be my border circle. I have no idea what I'm doing. Again, I am following no pre-planned template. I just know I need it to be a circle and I want a bunch of lines in between. There you go. Now, the next decision I need to make, and then from there it's total flow. This is a little protractor. I print these for my students. You can get online and print one yourself. If you buy a whole set that will have little rulers and squares. I'm grabbing over here off camera. And I have no fingernails because I've been gardening, so I can't pick it up. This is supposed to be fun. Oh, you can buy a whole set, and I have several of these for my students. But most of the time I don't use this stuff. This is a protractor. This is great, but I'll tell you, if you use it a lot, the numbers wear off and they break. This is a piece of paper. It's not a perfect circle. I'm not going to use it to draw the circle. I just need these things called degrees. So I'm putting this at north and south, east and west, and I have decided I want to draw at least an 8-point mandala. So that would be 45 degrees. Oh no, math! Oh no, math! This is pretty simple. You know what a 45-degree angle is. And these are 90 degrees. Now you might see some, well, you should, if you're looking at the video, not might, you should see some red dots. Those are at the 30-degree angles if I wanted to do it a 6-point mandala star. Okay? I just did it to make it easier for me. If you want to get complicated, and we're not getting complicated, 72 degrees is how you do a 5-point star. Moving on. I have marked my 45 degrees. Now I'm going back to my ruler, and all I'm going to do here, I'm going to turn it over just because it makes an easier line. For me, I don't want the cork down. This one doesn't say, Pat's ruler, please return to Pat. Again, I teach how to do this, and I make sure I mark all my stuff because people walk off with my stuff, I'm sure by accident. I can have a lot of people in my classes or just a few. Over at the Modernism Museum, I had 13 people show up, and only materials for 12, so I had to give up my own stuff. Okay, so now what you have is a circle with various circles around them, and you have 8 lines, and I can start drawing a mandala from here. Okay, so this is interesting. Something to tell you about this. Psychologically, I gravitate, you'll see, I gravitate to curvy lines. Curvy lines are representative of the feminine side of you. Straight lines are representative of the masculine part of you. Let's see, I'm going to stretch again because I happen to have one I just did for fun. It's just a fun one, stretching. Here. This one, I like this one. I think it's fun. But it doesn't make my personal soul bubble up. And I think it's just fun. It's a nice design. Other people may love it. There's a lot of straight lines for me. I prefer to go with the curvy ones, so I'm going to demonstrate curvy ones. All right, so I could just start penciling in right now. Now, if you're not used to doing these, you can use pencil and then go back over it with a Sharpie. Usually, I go right for the Sharpie. Just for demonstration purposes, actually that is not true. I want to dissect this more to 16 because it is a pretty big piece of paper and therefore a pretty big design to fill in. And I'm just going to draw those lines in very quickly. So what does the word mandala mean? It's not just the design. It's a Sanskrit word. By the way, when I teach my classes, I give you lots of history about the mandalas as we're working. That's what I'm going to do right here. It's a Sanskrit word meaning a circular vessel, more loosely a circle. You want to get more looser than that. How about a circle of friends? And I also like to think of it as a symbol of community. And someday I will show you my whole Mandala series, which is all about women and community. Okay, so now I have 16 lines. And now I'm going to be daring, because I'm used to doing this, and going right to the permanent marker that you will not be able to remove. And this is a lesson in itself. So I'm just going to pick this straight line here. I'm going to take it and make it curvy. I'm just going to do this all around because I want it symmetrical. So I want to do these with each line that I put in. In this case, it's going to be 16 of them. Now, usually I put my paper on a clipboard and spin it, but since I'm filming this, that's not going to work. So I put that line in all those different places. Now, what do I want to do with that line? I don't know. Maybe I want to do this line up here. So I'm going to go in the opposite direction over here. Pretty simple, right? You're going to watch this transform in a second. Right now, it just looks like random lines. I've had people come in and they look at the finished pieces and they go, I can never do that. And I think, why not? She says, oh, how do you get the idea? I said, that's just it. You don't get the idea. You don't come up with the design. The design just comes through you. This is the mindfulness. Now, say I mess up and I do something like that. And then I go, oh, I need to do that here. But now I get stinking thinking. That's the mess up. That my mind wanders. This is why you don't listen to music that has lyrics. You want calming music. Because all of a sudden I might do something in the wrong place. Not that there's any mistakes, but maybe I might just mess up and do that by mistake because my mind wandered. What am I going to do? That's what makes this helpful in meditation. By doing that, I realized, whoops, that's not part of the pattern. That's not the calming, relaxing pattern I had going on. But I can't ignore it because I want this to be symmetrical. What happened is my focus was lost by my thoughts. This happens in meditation all the time. So what do? Beat yourself up? No. You just say, oh, I noticed that I wasn't focusing. I need to go back to being focused to finish this mandala. And since I did that there, if you're Catholic, you'll understand this. Now I have 15 penance lines to do. But that implies punishment. No, you're just going to be aware that you did that. You fell out of focus. And as they say, a happy mistake. Is that Bob Ross? There are no mistakes. There are happy accidents. That's it. Happy accidents. And that's a happy accident. This can transform into a gazillion different things. Hey, what about the feeling that I want to put some petals in here? So you got the idea. You're going to go through all of this, not being too detailed, because that's important. Because this is just the template you're creating. Pretend you are creating a coloring book for someone else to color in. And this can go on and on and on and on. Now, these that I did in the morning, again, they took 20 minutes. They're really quick. They're giving you an idea of where my psyche was. They're centering and focusing my mind. I never know what they're going to turn into. I never have a plan. And I start my day. Oh, this one's really cute. Look at the little guys. They're like little bugs. Little bugs. What day was that? That was December 28th. I date them on the back. It's really fun because I can put them up along a table and I can say what was going on in my life, which day. I think this one was the last day of the year. All right, I know my camera's upside down. I'll be flipping the whole image. It says 2020, zoom, zoom. Boy, is that telling. Is that really telling? We didn't have any idea what was going to happen. Oh, I'm just curious, what day was this? November. Programming. That was me programming a whole winter catalog. Okay, so I have one more thing I want to do here, because this is not meant to be a full class. This is meant to be an introduction. And this is something that I did in South America. Anyway, I drew this piece. Hopefully the camera focuses in on this. And, oh, by the way, this is watercolor pencil. We can get into the supplies just quickly. What I like to use are these watercolor pencils. I do a lot of this work, especially when I'm traveling. This is how I stop and relax at a cafe. The other thing that I like to use is I found this really cool set of watercolors. It's a little bit messier, and I used to carry brushes until I found this wonderful tool. Now, this is a fairly expensive water brush. One of our emerging artists, Jawan, showed me his set during summer art camp. See, water comes right out of that. It's stored in this vessel. And he had a set of 3, and he paid the same amount for 3 as this one. I have a similar set. The problem is the bristles start to come out. It's worth it. You know, getting decent tools is worth it. So I put my watercolor pencil in, and then I can just wet it. Then I do the detailing. We're not getting as far as detailing today. This is why some of my watercolor classes last 4 hours, because the watercolor needs to dry thoroughly on the paper before we get into detail. Okay, back to the story. I like to title my mandalas. Well, this one wasn't titled yet, and I put it up on Facebook, and I have about 750 people on Facebook from all over. And I said, what do you see? When you look at this mandala, what do you see? Because I saw some stuff that really made me laugh, and I saw some really interesting shapes, and I could put nouns, things to what I was looking at in various spots on here. And I want to ask you, what do you see? So I did that on Facebook, and I was getting a lot of responses, and I absolutely adored what they saw because I didn't see it. I didn't see what they were seeing, and they didn't see what I was seeing when I started listing out the things that I was seeing. So I was giving a presentation later that week on the other side of the city, and I went over, and we had a big screen, so I put this up there. I had asked everybody, por favor, ¿qué cosas? What things do you see? And it was really interesting what people were saying. So this goes back to the psychological aspect of drawing mandalas. Again, super stressful at the end of November for me. Are you looking at that? No, it was the beginning of November for me. I have to be all done with my programming at the end of November. That was my day. So what do you see here? Should I give you some hints, or should I just let you fill in the comment boxes? Should I help you? I'm not getting any response because I'm recording this and I'm alone in the room. Hello, spirits, spirits, what should I do? Okay, so that's a little food for thought. And we're going to go back to the Zoom camera now. And this is what you ended up with. You can continue on. I will let you know I've got tons of mandalas in color to look through on one of my sites. I've got a few sites. But I'd rather see what you draw. And now back to the Zoom camera. And this is a message from me as program director, not as an artist, not as an art teacher, not as a therapist. It's a request. I've already given you one request. Tell me what you saw in that mandala, and then I'll tell you what I see too, because it's fun. My other request is feedback, please. Feedback. Programming during these times has been a challenge. And I'm happy to make virtual programs, but we have so much money that we have in the budget with various things not happening since March. And we have fund drives. Not fun drives. And we have fun drives. Let's have a fun drive. Whoops. Let's have a fun drive. No, we have a fun drive. So it's Maria and I, again, once again. Summer camp is over. And numbers have started spiking. We don't know what's going to happen. That's just one of the reasons why you should be drawing mindfully in the morning, because it is such an uncertain time. But we are dedicated to continue keeping the programming going at the Center for the Arts, and the calls to artists, and all the planning. As the program coordinator, this is the time of year, excuse me, I say coordinator, director. I was hired 3.5 years ago. That's another story. I need to keep that calendar as to what I want it to be, what we want it to be. I'd rather fill that calendar up for September, October, November, and then go on to the winter ones, and then dial back. I don't, oh, whoa, the cable's moving. Ooh, it's not an earthquake. It's simply, I'm just getting passionate again. It's making my computer table move. I want to know from you what you want. What will make you happy? You can tell us anything you want. And then we can dial it back and try to put it in the constraints of what's going on at this moment and in the next month. But we really need your feedback. Some people send us messages, and it's great. The virtual coffee and convos, I know those have been a success. The very first one that we did in March, that was at Deb Almey's garden, and she played Native American flute. And within 2-3 days, we were up to over 800 views. Now, I have analytics on both YouTube and on Facebook. We're heavy Facebook posters. It's kind of our age demographic, but we're going to be using Instagram a lot more. I know a lot of you don't like technology too much, to get over it. It looks like if you really want to get into cultural, social, online things, you're just gonna have to move that way. I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with technology. I think this is the 4th time I've tried to record this today because of various technical problems and sound problems. So we need to know what you want. The Center for the Arts is moving forward, and your opinions matter. You are our people. You are our artists. You are the people we are serving. And feedback is super important. Now, going back to this, because I'm squirreling. Hey, I'm in my 60s, old crows can squirrel. Hey, so I get the numbers off of Facebook. So I might know how many people view the virtual coffee and combos. I can see how many people stayed on it because they swiped through their phone, and how many people actually watched it. So it's showing me what topics are of interest. As program director, I keep track of how many people show up for the coffee and combos in person, so I can see the topics that people are interested in, to travel all the way to the Leesburg, all the way to the Leesburg Center for the Arts building and come in and sit for an hour and a half. It's not about the coffee, sometimes it's not even about the topic, and it's about the community. I know that, and I want to make sure I'm doing things that help make the community stay together well apart. So I need to know what topics you want. If you know of people that want to be a guest host, they don't have to meet with me in person. They can meet with me on Zoom, and we can record it on Zoom. We have a few of those from our artists that are not in the state right now. I've done that over the course of the season. Art Create, which is currently online, is one of Maria's passions, and she's getting to create artwork again. And I see by the feedback of people getting onto the Facebook Live party and making comments, that's how I'm seeing if it's a success or not. Now, we're not saying you need to stay tied to your computer, because you can also just respond back in the replays. So I'm not saying you must watch our stuff. We want to program for you. I want to program for you. I want to keep you involved. I want to keep you impassioned with what we had growing at the Leesburg Center for the Arts, and we're going to continue to grow it. So those are my requests. Tell me what you saw in this mandala. You can comment below, and then tell me what you'd like to see. You can send me a detailed message through programs@leesburgarts.com. That's my personal email at the center, programs@leesburgarts.com. And I'll get back to you. Okay, so it's heating up in here. I got to get the AC on. And whoops, I'm looking. We definitely hit our mark for how long I wanted to make this. Come back and watch more and more. Go to our video library. Check us out on YouTube. Get to our website. See what's on the calendar. And I hope to see you soon.